Flight has captured the human imagination for years. Obviously, it's something we can't physically do ourselves because it's impossible. Thus, we've invented mechanical flying machines. For the majority of people, flight is something that you experience going on holiday, and the majority of people in the world have never experienced actually flying a real aircraft. For most, it's out of a financial cost that people could never ever meet. So we turn to things like Microsoft Flight Simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator has brought a simulation level experience to real world pilots, enthusiasts and to just gamers. The scenery, the world scenery that's been created from Bing Maps using an AI algorithm lets us experience our own backyard or anywhere that we choose to go in the world. We can go and see wonders of the world, we can go and see cities. Seeing a place from the air is truly seeing it for the first time. But the census is you've got to have an absolute beast of a gaming PC to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, in the first 2 years that the simulator was released, that was true. Now, it's not. You can grab yourself an Xbox One or an Xbox controller, get onto something with a browser that you compare these to, a PC, a tablet, a phone, or a Microsoft Xbox One through Microsoft's cloud gaming service. So that means that for so many people that didn't have access to Microsoft Flight Simulator, they now have an opportunity to experience the world of flight. But does it work? Is it any good? But what we're going to do, we're going to jump over onto the Xbox One and I'm going to show you what the experience of Microsoft Flight Simulator is like on an Xbox One. And you've got to remember, guys, I think this is down to your internet connection. It's not the hardware as such that it's playing on. So let's give this a go. Okay, as you just saw, it was simple as going to the menu on the Xbox One. It's already got the link there for the cloud gaming to launch Microsoft Flight Simulator. And that's what we've just done in the background. This at the minute is running in real time, loading the game up on the Xbox One. So this is an Xbox One about to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, as you can see there, as the game is loading up, it's glitchy. It's almost as though the graphics are trying to catch up. And it's looking shaky to start. That's got to be said. It is looking shaky to start. Bear with us. Let's see what actually happens. So at this point, I could have pushed a button straight away. I just wanted it to play some of the video intro to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but as you can see, it's really pixelated. Whether this is just because this is the first time that the box or whatever we've connected to is starting up, whether it's doing a bit of handshaking, metering the connection, I'm not actually sure, but as you can see, it doesn't look brilliant at the moment. So from about this point now, I've chopped just a few little bits out of the loading because we did check for updates. It does that in the normal Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now we're into the menu structure. I just wanted to bring this up. If you've tried this on your Xbox and you cannot get your controller to work, you've got to log in on the PC or whatever you've loaded up Microsoft Flight Simulator on before, and under the controller menu, select default. If you do that, go back to the Xbox, you'll then be able to control the menu with the joystick on the Xbox controller. So just to cover over that again, if you load up Microsoft Flight Simulator on the Xbox One and you can't use your controller when you first get to the menu, you'll be able to use the left and right buttons at the top, but you won't be able to select anything on the menu. load up Microsoft Flight Simulator and whatever you've used it before. On the controller profile, set that to default, save it, come out, come back on your Xbox One, and then you can select a flight. So navigating around the world menu, it does seem there is a bit of there's latency in the actual image catching up. It's almost like we can see the screen rendering downwards. But when we actually click fly and we actually go to start our flight, I don't think there is any difference to what Microsoft Flight Simulator on the PC would be. Now, visually, there's a big difference, but I don't see that much of a difference with the loading times on the Xbox. So here we are, we're in the cockpit, and to be fair, I'm moving the controls around, I'm putting the power up, and there is a little bit of latency. I'm not going to lie, there is a slight delay, the slightest of delays, but it's not bad. I'm really impressed on how Microsoft have worked this out, but I've got to be honest, when I'm saying latency, it's not like I'm moving the control stick and there's a delay and then it happens. It's just, you can just almost sense it's not an instant connection as if I was playing it directly on the Xbox. I can definitely tell there is a micro internet latency there between me doing something and it doing it, but it doesn't detract from flying the aircraft at all. It's not a latency that would affect your flying. The only issue, as you can see there, is flipping between cockpit and other views, the rendering having to catch up. That is a problem. But actual flight and flying of the aircraft, it's fine. Now, on the Xbox, you're only going to get 1080p. But I've got to be honest, that view, yeah, it's not the same as 4K on the PC, nowhere near. But that, you cannot sniff at that view. If you want to go exploring the world, scenery, just checking places out in the world, this is running on an Xbox One, guys. I don't think you can moan or even say that is more than sufficient for the average person that's going to be joining and having a go at this. Yeah, as you can see there, it does sometimes take time to catch up, but look at this. I'm about to do a little barrel roll. I think it's called barrel roll, but successful, no delay, no lag. I was able to complete that, and it's doing the motions that I've got on the controller. As I've already mentioned, let's talk numbers. So on the Xbox One, it's only going to run at 1080p, 30 frames per second. And as we just head towards the city, there is no lag, there's no dropping of frames. It's not crushing the cloud-based server that's rendering our game at the minute. Considering this is cloud gaming, that is more than suffice running. It's stable, it's controllable, the view's good. I mean, I think this is pretty amazing. And talking of numbers, I want to mention my internet connection. My connection can vary, obviously, and it depends how many people in the household are sucking on the internet at the same time as me. But my maximum connection speed is about 67 megabits. To the Microsoft servers, whether I'm getting that, I don't think so, but I've measured way above 50 megabits. So that'll give you some idea of the bandwidth you're going to need. So whether Microsoft can improve the service, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, cloud gaming is still classed as beta, but you are going to get some graphical lagging on a connection of those speeds. If you've got a faster connection, then perhaps you're going to get even less issues than what I've experienced here. But in the views, it's not glitching out. In this cockpit view, it seems it's more than enough and stable enough to keep up with the graphics. And then once again, this is running off a cloud server. It's something to get excited about because obviously the world situation, PC parts being so expensive, it has been a barrier for a lot of people, but this gives everybody an entrance into Microsoft Flight Simulator. I did want to test what landing was like because it's easy to get up into the air. I wanted to see if latency or anything would cause a problem with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, I had not calibrated the controller. This is with default setups, and I went down a bit heavy there. I think to get the best out of Microsoft Flight Simulator, you have to change some of the sensitivity settings. So if you look on my channel, I've got a video doing that using an Xbox 360 controller, which is just the same as an Xbox One controller. Although it's been more than adequate at times, I do want to mention that with these graphical glitches and catch-ups, it can cause a problem because on this landing, again, I was a little bit heavy. I had a bounce. I tried to get it back. We had a glitch, and that glitch put us into the ground. So it's not always going to be perfect. As I say, let's hope it can be improved for the future. This was my very first look at Microsoft Flight Simulator on an Xbox One. It has happened. It's not perfect, but it can only get better. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.